Rhinos, on the other hand, believe in excitement and adventure. They thrive on the dynamic energy and challenges that exist only in the jungle. They couldn't handle the passivity and the mediocrity of the cow pastures. There's nothing there but grass and manure. Rhinos realize that on one side of the jungle is the cow pastures, and on the other side is the land of paradise. And all of their high aspirations, their goals, their desires are found on the side of where the land of paradise exists. Rhinos realize that there's danger in the jungle. They know that reaching the other side will not be easy, but easy is not an option for them, because if success was easy, guess what? It wouldn't be success. It would be mediocrity. You see, it's easy to be broke, poor, miserable, unhappy, and overweight. It's easy to be bored and frustrated. It's easy to give up your freedom. It's easy to sit in the cow pastures and watch TV every day and wonder why you're not getting anywhere. It's easy to give up on your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. It's easy to just sit there and listen to these tapes without completing the exercises. It's easy to just sit passively and watch things happen. Rhinos don't sit back and watch things happen. They make things happen. They don't wait for their circumstances they want. They create the circumstances they want. They don't focus on all the problems of life. They focus on the solution. Rhinos take action, massive action, towards the attainment of their goals. Rhinos realize the power of their mind, and they learn and utilize the tools and strategies that will help them get what they want out of life. And most importantly, they understand that even though taking advantage of the tools and strategies that exist today is great and powerful, it is even more powerful to get off their butts and take action. You see, with thought, what you want is brought to you, and with action, it is received. This entire concept of rhinos, cows, and the jungle is just a way to let you know that even though you apply these principles, and even though you apply the concepts and the strategies and so forth, it's not going to be a cakewalk to your dreams. If this was the case, then everyone would be in line to enter the jungle. However, out of 100% of our population, only 10% will enter the jungle, and out of those 10% that enter, only 30% of them will make it across to the land of paradise. The other 70% will either return to the cow pastures or die in the jungle. Therefore, only 3% of our population will ever make it to the other side of the jungle. The other 97% end up either dead or dead broke. They end up dependent on their friends, family, or the federal government for their main source of income. Now, if so far you've been bothered by this discussion of cows and rhinos, it means one or two things. Number one, you are currently a rhino in training who somehow is confused wandering around in the cow pastures. Deep down inside, you know you don't belong in the pastures, but you've forgotten where the jungle entrance is. Or number two, you have been systematically inbred and trained and conditioned as a cow, and you're wondering why you're even listening to this tape program. You may believe that all this talk about cows, rhinos, in the jungle is the silliest thing you've ever heard. And by the way, Wheel of Fortune or some other TV program is on and you should be watching it, you're thinking. Well, if you're a rhino in training lost in the cow pastures, don't worry, because you're right on track to get back to the jungle. You are most likely the one who either completed all of the exercises contained in the Creating Magic series, or you already think you know it all. Well, if you didn't complete the exercises because you think you know it all, that is probably the main reason why you're not accomplishing your dreams. That is probably the main reason why you find yourself lost in the cow pastures. That is probably the main reason why you're kind of lost and thinking, good grief, where am I? I'm not supposed to be here. If you feel that you are a conditioned cow, don't feel too bad, because at least you're still listening. That's a good sign. It means your rhino spirit is being released. And the more you listen to these tapes, and the more you listen to other tapes on personal empowerment and read books and go to seminars and so forth, the more your power is going to be released. The more of that genie that lies within you is going to be released, and it's going to be revealed right there in front of you. The key point to remember is what I said earlier in this tape. Everyone, and I do mean everyone, is born with the spirit of a rhino, but most of us are trained to be cows. I say this because we all came here with an incredible drive. After all, we won our first race. Let me explain. You see, we had to outswim millions of other sperm in order to be the first to get to and fertilize the egg. It was an uphill swim, and we made it first. As far as I'm concerned, everyone that exists on this planet has the rhino spirit deep inside of them and is a winner. It's just that some of us are more brainwashed than others. We are brainwashed to believe that we can achieve, that we can't have all that we really want, that we have to be mediocre, and that the best way to deal with our situation of being broke and miserable and unfulfilled is to understand that we will get all the greater things in life when we're dead and go to heaven. Well, listen, I'm all into going to heaven and so forth, but I'm not into living in hell in order to get there. I believe that you can create your own heaven on earth right now if you learn the proper strategies and apply them. You have the power to create magic in all areas of your life. And like I said before, you can create a heaven on earth right now if you decide to, or you can create a hell on earth right now if you decide to. The choice is yours. Just understand that no one said it's going to be easy. You will most definitely have visits from Murphy along the way, especially if you decide to enter the jungle. You're going to find out more about Murphy's Committee and how they operate. You will learn how to identify Murphy's Committee member when they pay you a visit, and you will learn how to beat them at their own game and enter the land of paradise. In the land of paradise, you can be what you want to be. You can do what you want to do, and you can have what you want to have. You don't have to worry about the price. You will learn how to develop the thick rhino skin so that you can endure the challenges which will surely come your way during your incredible journey through the jungle. Okay, everyone, we're back. I apologize for a slight interruption there. I know the thunderstorm, it was kind of difficult to talk through all that, but this happens frequently when you're in the jungle, and there's a lot of other challenges that take place also. Okay, now that you know that on one side of the jungle is the cow pastures, and on the other side is the land of paradise, the first course of action is to make a decision to enter the jungle, and when there, to stay long enough to make it to the other side. You understand that we're all born with the rhino spirit, but most of us have been trained to be cows. We talked about the fact that only 10% of our entire population will even decide to enter the jungle, and only 3% of our population will actually make it across. Okay, where does Murphy's Committee come into play? Well, remember I said that Murphy's Committee consists of a council of 5 who have set up an operation in the universe that will test a person's level of commitment to their dreams, the goals and aspirations in which they're pursuing? Once again, I call them the Inners of Magic. Their main job is to see if they can stop as many people as possible from making it across the jungle. Therefore, once you decide to enter the jungle, you better be prepared for some visits from the various council members that exist on Murphy's Committee. You see, all I'm doing right now is preparing you because I know that many of you have your affirmations prepared, you're excited about achieving them, you got your goals written down, but you may not be expecting or you may not be willing to deal with what Murphy's Committee in the jungle has in store for you. This is why it's important for you to know why you want to achieve what it is you most desire. Since I first entered the jungle in 1987, I've seen a lot of people come and I've seen a lot of people go. Some last longer than others, some re-enter the jungle at a later date, but many of them become what I call COJs, casualties of the jungle, never to return again. I mean, they accept the slow-paced mediocrity of the cow pastures for the rest of their lives. Murphy's Committee got the best of them. Let me share with you some of the tactics and some of the tricks that Murphy's Committee may pull on you in order to get you to exit the jungle. Murphy number 1 usually sends your family and friends after you when you first enter the jungle. They try to tell you to return to the cow pastures where it's safe and secure. They tell you that, look, there's a lot of real jobs in the cow pastures, and they warn you of all the dangers of the jungle. They tell you that there's no regular paycheck in the jungle, and by the way, there's a greater risk of disease in the jungle, and there's no medical benefits there. So you definitely want to make sure you get back to the cow pastures to get your medical benefits. They tell you all of the poor souls who failed miserably in the jungle, and maybe a couple of them are COJs, casualties of the jungle. Besides, none of your other family members have made it to the other side, so what makes you think you can? You may as well accept your existence as a cow. After all, you don't have to take as many risks, and it doesn't take too much to survive. This shot from Murphy number 1 is enough to make most people return to the cow pastures. After all, they love their family, and they don't want to really hurt their feelings anyway. That arrow that came from Murphy number 1 quickly penetrated through their thin skin and did enough damage for them to leave the jungle and return to the pastures. I see a lot of people leaving the jungle for this reason. But some people are more in tune with their rhino spirit. Thus, they keep charging through the jungle. Now it's time for Murphy number 2 to go to work on you. The strategy that Murphy number 2 used on me was to help get me in a situation where at the age of 21, I was burnt out and couldn't pay my bills. He figured that by having my cars repossessed and by sending the creditors after me, that would surely make me exit the jungle. And believe you me, I did feel that arrow. But one of my jungle buddies helped take that arrow out of me. And by the way, he told me that my skin was getting thicker. This encouraged me, and I actually stayed in the jungle because of this reason. Nevertheless, this is a major and highly effective strategy that Murphy number 2 used to make sure people exit the jungle. And sure enough, many of them do. The few that remain in the jungle is laughed at by Murphy number 3 because he knows that his powerful strategies can surely make people leave the jungle. Murphy number 3 plays heavily with your emotions. The strategy that he used on me was setting me up in a situation where I began to fall in love with a beautiful young woman who wanted to live comfortably in the cow pastures. Well, sure enough, situations occurred where I found myself living in the cow pastures with this young and beautiful woman. I even got a job in the pastures. And after a while, I couldn't take living and working in the cow pastures. I started becoming irritated and frustrated. I didn't fit in with the cows very well because they all noticed the horn that was starting to grow out of my head. I simply couldn't hide the fact that I was a developing rhino. You see, most cows have a hard time spending time with rhinos, and most rhinos have a hard time spending lots of time with cows. Rhinos are constantly talking about positive things, about their dreams and their goals, about their jungle adventures, and about the possibility of bringing their newfound cow companion in the jungle with them so they can make it on the other side together. Cows get nervous when rhinos start talking about these things. Cows like to complain about the things that went wrong at work and not being able to pay their bills. And they like to discuss trivial and negative issues, such as what happened on the news or how bad the economy is. The bottom line is I had to return to the jungle, and I really wanted to take this woman with me. But the energy, the excitement, and the risk of the jungle were too much for her. She decided to stay away from rhinos, and I decided to return to the jungle. It was a painful experience, and Murphy number 3 was surprised to see me back. He had did a great job playing with my emotions, and I even acknowledged him for it. But I told him that the jungle is where I belong, and that's where I will stay until I make it to the other side. I vowed to only fall in love with women who were promising young developing rhinos themselves instead of trying to make them rhinos. He was impressed with my determination, and so were the other committee members. You see, only a handful of people make it past Murphy number 3. Well, nevertheless, Murphy number 4 and Murphy number 5 were determined to stop me, and they're going to be determined to stop you as well. You see, getting past Murphy number 3 is a major breakthrough. By this time, your jungle skills have increased tremendously. Your skin is thickening more and more through every challenge you have through the jungle. You become more and more determined to make it to the other side of the jungle. And for the first time, you actually begin to embrace the atmosphere of the jungle. You have even developed enough skills and strategies to teach the newcomers and those who are sick and tired of being cows and are highly considering entering the jungle. You can tell them what gear to pack, what to expect, and how to effectively handle the potholes and the best route to take in order to avoid the occasional quicksand spots. Many rhinos actually use this avenue of teaching newcomers the techniques of successfully making it through the jungle as a source of revenue to support the remainder of their expedition through the jungle. By the way, even existing rhinos come and hear these strategies just to polish up and reinforce their jungle skills that they already have.